This is
Big Boss Ben.
Big Boss Ben, and we are the Loan Guys podcast coming to you from NBI Financial Group. This is our studio, the Campo Media Group studio. Thank you all for joining us. We have an absolutely awesome episode. But before we get started, you know what they need to do?
What?
Bang that red subscribe button and turn on your notifications. That way you know every time we post a video on YouTube. And if you're watching this on Facebook, go to our YouTube, subscribe to that. We're going to be doing giveaways on YouTube. We're giving away a $100 Amazon gift card on March 17th. On March 17th, which is St. Patty's Day, and I picked that day. Shout out to little bro, Dom Campo, your birthday. I picked that day for you, Dominic, so that you and all your young friends would go and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can learn how to be a first-time home buyer. They all are first-time home buyers. Absolutely. There's a big benefit of buying young. I want to get the average age of a first-time home buyer down from 34, 35, down back into the 20s, because this is America and that's the American dream. But here's the deal. Here's how you win the $100 Amazon gift card. You go to our YouTube, you subscribe to the channel, you turn on notifications, and you comment underneath this video of the podcast. Give us a thought on this podcast, whether you liked it, whether you liked the point we were making, whether you disagreed with us, especially if you disagreed with us. I want to see what all the Looney Tunes are thinking out there. And leave your Instagram handle after the comment. If you do that, what we will do is on March 17th, you'll be automatically entered to win a $100 Amazon gift card. And while you're at it, go to the rest of our, we're on TikTok, NBI Financial Group. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. We are on all of them. We have the content rocking and rolling.
We do.
So let's go do it. Ben, what do you got for me?
Donovan. So in previous episodes, and if you haven't seen it, definitely check them out. We have hammered into the current market, why it is the way it is, what the Fed's doing, how it's changing rates, what we think is going to happen with markets going forward. Where I kind of want to transition this episode, and probably going forward too, is how it's affecting different sectors of the market. In particular, for example, today we're going to talk about first-time home buyers.
I love first-time home buyers.
That's absolutely. So yeah, I mean that's a big part of why we do what we do. But in this current rate market, I mean, looking at a few statistics, first-time home buyers are down to 27% as of November 2022. That is the lowest in 40 years. Why is that? They're getting hurt because you're having all these people. 97% of first-time home buyers are financed, meaning they have to get financing. You have the rising rates right now. Home prices are still increasing as well. So not only do they have harder affordability, they're still having to pay the higher prices. And not only that, we've talked about numerous times in the past about how the Fed is intentionally trying to hurt employment and drop wages, which again is hurting first-time home buyers being able to qualify and purchase a home. So how do we combat that? What exactly is the advantage for a first-time home buyer in this market?
Do you want me to tell you what the advantage is? So here's a massive advantage. So if you are somebody who's going to buy your first-time home buyer, we talk about comprehensive real estate plan. Step one, buy a primary residence. Yeah. I don't want you renting and lighting your cash on fire. Right? Because that's what you're doing. You're paying down somebody else's principal. You're never going to get an ROI on renting. Right? Now, there are situations to rent where you save up so that you have money for down payment. But I don't want you wasting your return on investment or not getting a return on investment if you're able to. I was looking in York County, South Carolina, because that's where we're based out of. Right. And in York County, guess what?
What?
There's something like 21,000 people who are currently renting that can afford to buy a primary residence based off of, cash in the bank. That's it.
Yeah.
Almost 21,000 people. So I'm speaking directly to the 21,000 people. I want to help you.
Absolutely.
Even if you think you may have to move in 2 years, I bet you if we took a look at the rent versus buy comparison, which we can do for you.
Right.
After year 2, if you went to sell the house, you would make a profit on it.
Right.
But there's other things you can do. You can rent it out, hire a management. There's a lot of things you can do, right? That's part of the comprehensive real estate plan. Why buy in this market? Oh, Nick, interest rates are high. We should wait. Well, there's a cost of waiting too, right? So there's a major inventory shortage, and you and I had talked about this ad nauseum.
Yes.
We have a huge inventory shortage. The Charlotte market, which we're, this area, York County, is considered part of the Charlotte market. We're close enough to Charlotte. It's going to be the number one purchase market.
Right.
In 2023, right? That's facts, folks. You don't have to believe it. My TikTok people, I know you don't agree with this. It's smart to buy a home right now. Keep hating, haters. I love you. Thank you for commenting. I appreciate it. But right now is a great time to buy a home because interest rates are up. It's more of a buyer's market. Sellers are getting antsy if their house is sitting on the market. You can negotiate in seller credits to do things such as a 2-1 buy down,
Right.
permanent buy down, which I don't suggest. I don't think you get a great return on investment because starting in May, you're going to start seeing a drop in interest rates and the purchase market go wild the second half of the year, right?
Absolutely.
And what's that mean? There's going to be mass appreciation. Get into a home now because the second half of the year, I'm talking specifically Charlotte, North and South Carolina. If you look at the U-Haul maps and all the data, all the people moving here and the lack of inventory, what happens? When there's a high supply and a low demand, it's going to sky. We're already projected at 11% growth year over year, or 11% appreciation, right?
Right. Number one market in the country.
Number one market in the country, 11% appreciation. Texas, we're coming for that crown. We're coming for that crown. The Californians, they've all moved already. Now, I don't know who's coming to South Carolina. Howdy, welcome y'all. Start saying y'all, right? And just start saying y'all because you have to. I'm from New York and I say y'all. But long story short, you're going to see a mass appreciation because of the lack of inventory. So I'm telling everybody, get in now.
Right.
You date the rate, you marry the home. Happy Valentine's Day to all the people. Donovan, great post, Valentine's Day post with the saying. If you haven't seen it, go to our LinkedIn, check it out. But anyway, long story short, you're going to gain mass appreciation. You're going to set your family up for financial success. Buying a home is a long-term investment. I'm not telling you to buy now and flip it. I'm saying get into a primary resident. First-time home buyers, we have DPA programs. There's down payment assistance, things of that nature. It's a smart investment. It's a good investment. You need to do it sooner than later because every day that you wait is a loss of appreciation, and there's a compounding effect to that.
Exactly.
Also, paying down the principal. So you're building equity in every payment you make compared to rent where you're just lighting on fire.
And something else that you didn't even mention too is right now we're in a shortage. Right, there's a shortage of homes out there. That's why we're seeing prices as high as they are. That's why prices hasn't changed because that shortage hasn't gone anywhere. And we're also seeing historic amounts of new families being created right now. It's yeah. So right. So I mean, their build numbers are actually up, but they still are not competing with how many new families are out there and how many buyers are being generated.
Can I give this stat?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so here's the stat, right? Household formations. New families being created. People need a place to live. That's a household formation.
Right.
In the United States, 1.9 million new household formations. And guess what? New construction completion is going to be 1.3 million is what it's projected at, almost 1.4 million. So there's almost over a 500,000 home shortage based on household formations. And what's that mean? Low supply, high demand, prices are going to go up. You got something. I know you have a stat.
Well, yeah, because the construction numbers actually came out yesterday.
Oh, hit me.
1.406.
1.406 for household for new
for housing completions.
Housing completions.
Building permits 1.339.
Massive inventory shortage.
Right.
Massive inventory shortage. Anybody who said, and I shouldn't say anybody. Let me call out big media, corporate media. The Fox News's, MSNBC, CNN's, all the fear mongers, the ones who aren't covering the trade derailments right now with all the chemicals that are, harming people, fish, and animals. Those news stations that refuse to cover that type of stuff, What they're also doing is they're feeding this fake narrative saying, hey, listen, this could be like 2008. There is no indicator in the market that this is 2008. Housing prices are not going to go down. We saw a 10% decline. We were up 50% in 2 years. Up 50% in 2 years. So a 10% decline temporarily is going to be what? A 40% gain still over a 2-year period.
Yeah.
We're projected to see another 11%. So 11 plus 40, 51% increase, right?
Right.
But they want to push this narrative of, the housing market's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. Things are going to crash. Interest rates are so high. I just saw it today on MBA Mortgage, I think it's Mortgage Bankers Association, published an article. Interest rates are almost 7% again. The sky is falling. They are trying to scare people away from purchasing, and I don't understand it, right? I think, and I get into this, is it a lack of fundamental knowledge on what's actually happening in the market, or is it they're doing this on purpose and they're in collusion. I don't think they're smart enough to collude with anybody to try to drive down quote unquote inflation and housing prices and so on and so forth.
Right.
I really don't think they're smart enough. I think it's just fear mongering, man. They want to push fear,
Right.
which is crazy that they aren't covering that chemical spill on the train in Ohio, but they're going to make everybody fearful about the house. They're talking about aliens and shooting objects out of the sky, but they won't tell us the truth.
Because it's headlines. It's not about news. It's about the headlines and generating views, making money, that clickbait culture. And it's absolutely ridiculous, especially when you're talking about first-time home buyers like we are right now. Like first-time home buyers, and all our realtor partners out there will agree, are more nervous about buying a home. They've never done anything like it. It is the largest financial transaction of their life. And they're nervous. And understandably so. They've never done it before. And I bring up that first-time home buyer dropping is because part of why I believe that's the case is look at the news. Look at the headlines that are being out there. It's scaring them away for clients who are more easily scared than returning clients who've been through the process before, who, I mean, are generally older in life, things like that, who feel more confident. They're still buying. Their numbers are up.
Well, this is the crazy part too,
from
right?
A percentage, yeah.
Well, here's the crazy part too. So the people who voted prior, right, they're buying because they know everything's going to be all right.
Yes.
The first-time home buyer who actually needs to get into that home in order to build long-term wealth.
Right.
Whether you believe it or not, your primary residence is an investment, right?
Yeah.
So they are scared because they're looking at corporate media, people that they were told that they could trust their whole life, or they're seeing their friends and family say stuff on Facebook or Instagram or wherever they're saying stuff about how scary this market is. The crash is coming. The crash is coming. The crash is coming. Folks, the crash is not coming. There's no indicators there. Inflation's coming down. Interest rates are going to come down. The market is not overinflated from a value standpoint. All the stuff that you're seeing that's telling you that is, they aren't telling you the truth. And you're actually hurting yourself and taking more of a risk by staying in that rent situation.
Right.
I can't stress this enough. And this is why it's good to have independent media like ourselves. We are independent. We aren't journalists, but independent news. We try to give the news. We try to give people facts.
Independent opinions based off of facts, based off of what we're seeing in our jobs in the industry, working day to day with clients who are in actual positions. We're not sitting behind a computer, not dealing with it, just doing some research and writing an article based off of what we think is going to get more views. We're actually dealing with our clients who we treat like family. We always say, like, we handle our family the exact same way as we handle our clients' loans.
Right. It's client for life.
Right.
It's a client for life. And we handle our clients probably better than we handle our families.
That is actually true.
So here's the deal, man. It's like, okay, you're staying in a situation that's going to hurt you. We're trying to bring you facts. And I don't care what anybody on TikTok says because I get a lot of blowback. I get a lot of blowback on TikTok. They love you. I guess I'm too loud. My TikTok people, here's what you need to know about me. I'm going to tell you the truth. And I'm going to yell it in your face. You don't have to like the delivery. Just listen to the message, period. Don't like the delivery, but listen to the message. And as I always say, please don't kill the messenger. Just don't kill the messenger. Buy a home. Like, I'm going to keep saying that. If you can get into a primary residence, buy a home. Here's the other piece that I keep going back and forth with you TikTok people on. There's no accountability. And I think I have to believe, I know that there's some TikTok Chinese, all this stuff is going on with China and TikTok and that type of thing, right?
Right.
I have to believe that some of the people in my comments are bots. There's this one guy, Drunk 007. I think it's 007. If I got your username wrong, I'm sorry, but you actually don't deserve the attention because of your opinions. Your opinion is that I'm lying to people, and they constantly say I'm spewing lies when I say the things I say. What am I lying about? Hey, primary residence, 6 rental properties, pay them off in 14 years, add to your retirement. I'm not saying don't do 401k, IRA, any other stock market, whatever you want. But I'm saying real estate should be part of it. It's called diversification. Right. So you need to diversify your investments, plain and simple. So the first thing you need to do is you need to get into a primary residence. The second thing you need to do is start looking into rental properties. Oh, well, how is a middle-class person living paycheck to paycheck supposed to save up enough money to be able to put a down payment down? Well, on the primary, we have DPA assistance programs. We have DPA assisted programs that we can help you that are day one equity programs. We have other forms of help. We can come up with a comprehensive real estate plan to show you what to do. And we'll even take a look at your budget. We can't tell you how to budget, but if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're probably not budgeting properly. You're probably living outside of your means. Here's number 2. Oh, Nick, how do they get 20% for a down payment so they can buy one rental property a year for the next 6 years after buying their primary? Well, it's called doing this, right? A budget, being an adult, and having some accountability. If you have some accountability and you know where your dollars are going, you will be able to make it happen. I got some flack saying, hey, stop going out to eat. You'll save money if you stop going out to eat. Hey, you stop and get a pack of cigarettes and a bag of chips every day on the way to work. That's probably costing you $1,200 a year. Some people more. Cigarettes are expensive. Oh, what else do? You have a car payment? Sell the car and get something without a payment. And then the money you would put towards the car payment, right? Drive a junker. This is called sacrifice. This is called being an adult. This is called, hey, I'm going to look out for the long-term welfare of myself, my family, or whoever it is that you love and that you're close with. And if you don't have anyone you love and that you're close with, maybe when you pass away, you can leave those properties to a charity who can then help people. See, it's not all about greed, folks. It's not all about, corporate America's so bad, the billionaire's so bad, this person's so bad. At some point, you have to have some accountability. You have to take accountability for your own actions. You have to look at where your money is actually going. And let's get to this. 3 out of 5 adults don't have a budget. No wonder you're living paycheck to paycheck. No wonder 70% of America can't write a $1,000 check. And you want to sit here and get mad at me? Guess what? I grew up in that environment. God bless my parents. They did an absolutely awesome job. I'm not in that environment anymore because I worked my way out of it. And for the people who said I grew up rich, you couldn't walk down Division Street with me in Amsterdam, New York. You'd get your ass kicked. There was nothing rich about it, period. So my personality might come off as a little harsh, but I'm somebody who actually put one foot in front of the other and did it. And for all the haters, pick yourselves up by your bootstraps. I know you love that saying. Have some accountability for your actions and where your wealth is going. And guess what? You can make your dreams a reality. Is it harder nowadays? Maybe. I don't know. I'm dealing with today. You can deal with how hard it is. You can sit there, cry, and be upset. Oh, Nick's saying mean things on NBI Financial Group's TikTok. Nick is telling people that it's possible if they have some accountability. It is possible to buy a primary residence. We have a million ways to do it. And the first thing you need to do is have an actual plan.
Right. So, yes. So a lot to unload there. I was kind of like making points like what I want to talk about and then several topics later. So first off, I want to say out there, not calling our TikTok followers shallow, but I'm sure the looks had something to do with why they like me better. So thank you. And anyway, thank you for the compliment. But also going into it, so you mentioned before about like it being difficult to buy in terms of the down payment and things like that. So we have a newly married couple, talk about one of the newly formed households.
In their 20s.
Right. 23 and 24?
Nope, not even close. 20 and 21.
Yeah, and the early 20s, currently buying their first-time home buyers.
Just got married 6 days ago. Congratulations.
Right. Extremely excited to help them. They just went under contract. We're super pumped about helping them. But what they're doing is they're buying a primary residence. They're going to live in it for a while. It's their starter home. They have a long-term plan that we're working with them on. They're buying with minimal down payment because it is a primary right now, and it will be for the next year or two, or whatever their family life.
They're in the military as well.
Right, they are. So whatever their family life.
How responsible is that?
Oh, that's incredibly responsible.
And they get a housing stipend, so the military is paying for the payment.
It's awesome.
So they're getting a housing stipend. So that's going to be covered for them. And on top of it, and I don't know if you even knew about the housing stipend.
I did.
Oh, yeah. So housing stipend, that's covering it. Plus, they talk about accountability. They joined the military and they're building wealth through real estate while they're in the military. So they aren't just screwing around, getting out of whatever they do from the military standpoint, drills, all that stuff that they have to do, and going and drinking beer. They're saying, hey, we're married. We love each other. We want to build long-term wealth for us and our future families, outside our future family that we plan on having.
Right.
I said to them, I admire them. What a great story.
Absolutely.
How do you not?
Absolutely. But and that's what I'm saying. They have options because they can do it. They don't have to put 20% down. And guess what? In a couple of years, they're going to have an investment property. Right after that, they're going to have another one because that's their plan. Is every year or two, they are going to buy a new home, upgrade, and then convert their last one to a rental property. It's a absolutely great plan to do.
You know who's absolutely pissed?
Who?
At both of us right now? Dave Ramsey.
Well,
he says 20% down, 15-year mortgage, and that advice is great advice. That is great advice, and that can work. But there's other ways to make it work as well, right?
Grant Cardone also said you don't buy a house you have $1 million in the bank.
Grant Cardone's an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, Ramsey says a lot of good things too, but
he does, and I agree with him.
I disagree with that piece, and the reason why, and I'll just say real quick, is because a mortgage is, I mean, it's the everyday man's ability to build wealth because it's financing spread out over 30 years. There's no other way. In most countries, you can't even do that. No. This is one of the very few countries out there. I think us in Canada are the only ones with the availability to have a 30-year mortgage that lets you spread out those payments, that gives you the cash flow, the benefit to your cash flow that allows you to buy a home, finance it at 97%, like with only 3% down payment, 3.5% down payment, whatever you're able to get. But going back to their clients that we're able to help, like that is an absolute great plan. They're able to do it. What you said as well on terms of that about buying, people not wanting to buy, is be a monster. When we talked about this last week, if you didn't watch it, go look at it. You can do great things with money, but you have to have it in order to do certain things. So if you're sitting there saying, oh, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do that. Look, it's your choice. We're giving you options. That's our job, is to provide options. But be a monster. Go out there, get it, do good things with it. Donate it.
Make life happen, right?
Absolutely.
Make life happen.
Absolutely.
And I want to touch on that. You said be a monster. We just hired a monster, loan officer. Shout out Elisa. Can't wait to have you come aboard on Monday. But number two, you have a choice here in this country. You can either sit here and cry and moan about how evil corporations are making billions of dollars, or you can figure out how to play the game and you can make as much money as you want to in this country. Plain and simple. Now, we'll talk about taxes and hopefully they lower the taxes, but tax the billionaire, do this, do that, da. The people screaming, the mob mentality, going after all the richest folks. I'm not saying the richest folks are great and so awesome and great people, but they know business, they know how to make money, and I guarantee you they're helping more people than you are in your mama's basement screaming at them because they have money, right? So they are helping more people because they're doing what? They're creating jobs, which creates tax revenue to put schools and roads and so on and so forth, right? So the people who are screaming, oh, well, I don't want to be a landlord because I don't want to be like the evil corporation. Well, first off, the corporation isn't evil because of how many people that they're employing, right? Now, can they do evil things at times? Absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with that. But learn how to play the game because that's what this is. It's a game. Oh, they don't pay their fair share in taxes. There is something called tax code. And they know why do you think that corporations are able to not pay as much in taxes as people want them to? Because they're creating jobs, which is creating other tax revenue because they're giving people an opportunity to do what? Go out to eat for lunch. There's taxes. Look at the ticket they give you. There's income tax, right? Depending on your state. If you're smart, get out of the states with high income tax. But also look at the property taxes because sometimes some states try to make it up in property tax and they say, oh, no income tax. Florida, Texas. But yeah, anyways, getting back to that, you can be mad at the evil corporations and be mad at the millionaires and the billionaires, or you can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to stop being a loser and yelling about other people and worrying about what other people are doing. Worry about myself and create and build wealth. And it doesn't even have to just be through real estate. How about this? Go out and start a business, right? If you are so mad about what some evil corporation is doing, you know what can change that?
What?
Competition. Start a business. Compete with them. Or be a loser. Right. It's their choice.
Look, and I'm not going to say anyone's a loser. You can make your own choices, but at the end of the day,
they're a loser.
All right, well,
I'll take that.
You already have.
If you're sitting there complaining about other people and you're not making your life better, you're a loser. That's the definition of loser.
No, but here's the thing: you want to make a change, you want to make a difference. What are you going to do? Like, how are you going to do that? And that's why we say be a monster. Go out there, get the ability, the power to make that change.
Right. Well, learn how to win because all I do is win, no matter what. Like, learn how to win.
Right.
Learn how to win.
Right. So last thing I want to touch on this piece, because, and we already talked about it with our clients in terms of what their process is to build wealth. and you've already kind of touched on a lot of these, but the options out there for first-time home buyers to compete in this market, to still get qualified with it. I mean, you have the temporary buy downs, you have down payment assistance programs. And one thing that you did mention that really needs to be said is right now, at least for right now, don't know about in the future, seller credits.
I know where you're going with this.
Seller credits give you so much flexibility. It really will. It evens the playing field a ton.
It does.
And there's so
you
many
better get
uses
into
for
a
that.
home before May, because as soon as those interest rates really start to come down, seller credits are going away. And the reason you preference this, at least for now, and you said that, is because of our bet that was on this show.
Right.
I guarantee you, I can't say this 100% factual because maybe the chemical derailment train, something caused the market to get effed up in a certain area. But I would be willing to bet in North and South Carolina, which are two of the heaviest places that people are moving and hottest purchase markets, as soon as those interest rates come down,
Right.
those seller credits are going away. And I would say probably by October of next year, even before that, August of next year, you won't see seller credits anymore.
Right.
So if you're a first-time home buyer and you want your closing costs covered, now is a time where you actually have the power. And guess what? If your realtor can negotiate, and if they work with us, I'll teach them to negotiate, right?
Right.
I know some of you might not like it, but Donald Trump, art of the deal. I had to say Trump just to make people mad, but but yeah, you can negotiate seller credits, and it's really going to help with temporary buy downs, closing costs. Even if you want to do a permanent buy down, which I wouldn't suggest because it's not a great ROI right now. But
all right, last point I'm going to make about first-time home buyers being able to buy. You know what will help them? Banging that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, and follow us on all social media. That is Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Rumble, YouTube, TikTok. Am I missing anything?
I don't think so. We have a lot of.
Right.
What else do they need to do?
Follow us.
And we're giving away what?
$100 to Amazon.
Amazon, trying to say
right on St. Patrick's Day. So leave a comment with your Instagram handle in there. And on St. Patrick's Day, we will be picking a winner for that $100.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Yep, for the first time home buyers that are, like you mentioned, in college, like your brother.
Yeah. Congrats, Don, first time home buyer, man.
Yeah. When $100 does Amazon sell beer?
He's not 21 until St. Patty's Day, so he could use it to buy beer.
Yeah.
But Amazon does not sell beer. I don't think they have the liquor license.
Okay. Well, yeah, makes sense.
We'll sell the Amazon card for $100 and then go buy beer. So.
All right. So, anyways, we're getting back into the next topic on the changes. So, we're not the only ones talking about first-time home buyers right now. There's the
FHFA.
Correct. Sorry about that.
Tongue twister.
Yes, it is. That regulates a lot of it, or changing the LLPAs. We've touched about on this briefly.
What's an LLPA, guys?
It is a loan level pricing adjustment. Basically, what it is the secondary market adjustment to your rate based off of criteria. So when you ask us for, hey, what's my interest rate going to be? And we tell you it depends. This is the reason why, because it's based off of your credit score, your how much down payment you're putting. As of now, what your debt to income ratio is. There's a lot of factors out there that are taken into account, and it's changing in order to help. Then the reason for it is to help first-time homebuyers to correct this. I think
it's a big positive.
Yes.
Things get put into place to kind of give incentive, like solar power, for example, which I'm looking at solar panels for my house. I think it's great, right?
Right.
But there's a huge incentive in basically the county that you're in. They'll provide an incentive so that more people go to solar power to help our power grids, which let's not even get into that, but we should probably go nuclear power.
Right.
That's my opinion. I'm really making TikTok mad today. Oh, man, they're going to hate me. But they're doing that with the loan level pricing adjustments to give more incentive to people who maybe don't have as high of credit score. A lot of first-time home buyers don't have as high of credit scores as somebody who's experienced, just because they haven't built up the credit history. And then also for less of a down payment, the loan level pricing adjustment is better than it was, and it's really meant to drive people. I think it's a big positive in 2023. So if you're a loan officer out there and you're watching this, or you're a realtor, it's a huge net positive to be a first-time home buyer, and that's a huge market. And we need to go after that market. So
it is. And this isn't the first increase either. I mean, in October, they rolled out another one for that had income restrictions as well, but basically eliminating all LLPAs for first-time home buyers within less than the median county loan limit.
Right.
So similar to like home possible loans if you're in the industry.
Right.
Um,
So talk a little bit about what these adjustments are.
so the adjustments, I mean, they're increasing for higher credit scores. And they're also
When
increasing
you
for
say
second
increasing,
homes.
I'm going to ask you questions as if I'm a first-time home buyer. So, Ben, you're saying that the loan level pricing adjustment is increasing for second homes and higher
Correct.
credit scores. What do you mean by increasing? Does that mean they're getting more of a credit?
No, that means that the cost for your rate is increasing, going higher.
So your
Meaning
interest
you're
rate
going to pay more for the interest rate that you choose. And yes, the people out there, the lender does not just assign you an interest rate. You actually have rate sheets with different options that you are supposed to be presented, which is our job to do, is to present you with your options.
right, and the good ones will go over multiple different options, so the
Right.
different scenarios. Say, hey, this is how much this rate will cost. This is how much this rate will cost, and they're supposed to go through that and show you all of your costs. That's what the good ones do.
Absolutely.
Probably not your big banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, or your credit unions or your retail mortgage lenders. They may not do that. Maybe some of them.
Right.
Some of them, I'm sure there's some 1%ers out there that do that. But
I'm sure.
working with people like you and I who are mortgage brokers, we do that. But anyway, so
Because we care.
so because we do. If somebody is so buying a second home, it's going to cost them more now in interest rate
Correct.
for the rate, right?
Same thing with investment property.
Investment property,
Cash out refinance.
Cash out refinance. If they have a higher credit score,
Correct.
it's going to cost them more.
It will. Compared to what it was before. Yes, it will cost them more.
So that's also, I think, pushing. They want to
So-
get more inventory on the market.
It's going to
It's going to
drive
be a
that.
product, right?
Right. It is going to drive that. And yeah, and also when I say increase, it doesn't necessarily mean your rate's going to be higher, but because it was risk based in the past, meaning that the higher interest rate, they looked at it, oh, it's a safer loan. We're going to be able to bundle it in a better package on the secondary market, which is what they do. They have investors that look at it, bundle it for mortgage bonds. Is why rates are so tied to the bond market.
And go watch The Big Short. It kind of explains all
Absolutely.
that. It's a Hollywood version of it, but it does a really good job explaining it.
We've had previous podcasts. We've explained it in better detail. But yeah, basically it was risk based. So higher credit score, less risky client means better interest rate.
Right.
At this point, when it's increasing, that's just the change from what it was before. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it can go up to a whole point higher.
Yes.
1% of the loan amount, which if you're buying for some high credit score clients buying a $700,000 house, that can be a sizable difference.
So when's this go into effect?
March 1st.
March 1st.
Or May 1st. Sorry about that.
May
1st. Well,
but
the secondary market is May 1st. A lot of lenders are rolling it out early because that's not going to close until then. So they're preparing for it earlier.
They have to be able to package it and sell it on
Right.
the secondary market. So what's going to happen is it's going into place by March 1st for a lot of people.
Right.
Probably by March 1st at the latest, because say it takes you, with us, it'll take you 15 and a half days to close, but with everyone else, it's going to take you probably 45 to 60 days. We're a lot faster. But for those slow people, 30, 60, 75 days to close. When it goes to the secondary market, which would put you around May 1st, they have to be able to package it and sell it. So it's going into effect. Some places are putting it into effect now. Some places are putting it into effect next week. Some places are putting it into effect March 1st. But by March 1st, pretty much everyone will have rolled these LLPAs out. So it's a good idea to talk to your loan officer or your loan originator and ask them, hey, am I getting hit with these new LLPAs if you're buying an investment property second home, or if you're a higher credit score person? And if you're a first-time home buyer, you should talk to them about, hey, am I being incentivized here? Because you probably are, which is a good thing. So,
right, you are. I mean, now, is this the perfect solution? Because it definitely is going to help first-time home buyers. It's giving you, I mean, basically money to help with your rate. It's going to improve your rate, improve your affordability, like we talked about, help you qualify for a home, help with your closing costs. But is this a perfect solution?
I don't think there's a perfect solution to anything.
Yeah.
I really don't think there's a perfect solution to anything. It's also, you're putting more risk into the market, right?
You are.
So first-time home buyer is riskier than somebody who's, perfect credit, right? Somebody with a lower credit score what you're doing is you're incentivizing people with higher credit score and even more down payments, right? Isn't down payment part of the LLPA change? So
Yes.
if you're putting 20% down, you're actually getting hit. So they're really,
you're getting worse price.
You're getting worse pricing for
worse for
20%.
putting more down.
Yeah, for 20% down, we would have to look at that on a case-by-case scenario. But long story short, is it the perfect solution? I don't think there's such thing as a perfect solution ever. I do think that we need to lower the age of a first-time home buyer because we are hurting the future of our country. So I do like what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
The last thing you want is a bunch of people who are 35 right now buying their first-time home buyers, which the average age is right around 35 right now. We need that age closer to 27.
Right.
We really need the age closer to 27 because that, and I'm looking at the long-term future and wealth of our country. Like, we don't want a bunch of broke 55-year-olds in 20 years.
Right.
You want people in their 50s that have buying power, and that's not just for housing. That's for all industries. That's for our economy, to keep our economy growing. This is another reason I argue for younger politicians who have more of a stake in the future. Like Biden and Trump, they're going to be dead in 10 years. Like, that sounds crazy, but like, that's who ran for president, right? So I'm looking at people. I want somebody who's maybe a little bit younger to come in and say, hey, what do we need to do to make sure that our country and our young people are set up for the future? And our generation, I'm going to challenge them. What are you doing to set up the generation behind you? Because we're going to be left with a mess. $35 trillion of debt, 30 home buyers who are having to work, first-time home buyers at 35 who are now going to have to work longer and longer. That means if you stay in your mortgage for 30 years, you won't have that mortgage paid off until you're 65. That's retirement age.
Right.
That's retirement age.
Right.
So, and here's what I think about and why I do kind of like these LLPAs. I'm sorry to all my investor friends out there and my second home buyers and all those folks, but at the end of the day, I like this to an extent. I hate that the government and the Fed and everybody has FHFA has a hand in this, and it's not truly a free market. But I also think it's good to have some regulation here, because if you're a first-time home buyer at 35 years old, right, and we'll say that you stay in that house for 7 years, you're buying your second home at 43. A majority of people are getting a 30-year mortgage.
Right.
You won't pay that home off until you're 73 years old. Until you're 73 years old.
Right.
So are you working until you're 73, or are you retiring and allowing your Social Security and your retirement to pay for that expense? When you go to retire, folks, you want your home paid off. Unless you have a portfolio of investment properties where you're cash flowing more and so on. Like, there's situations maybe you don't want your home paid off. I know me personally, my home will be paid off. Right. So it is I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a perfect solution. I do believe in incentivizing. This is a situation where I kind of like the regulation. And, we're on the forefront of the industry and everything we're doing and our knowledge. So we're going to be able to go out and help that first-time home buyer a lot better than others, because other people, that's just a job to them. This ain't just a job to me. I really, really am passionate about what I do, and so are you. So, I'm okay with the changes. Do I think they're perfect? Nothing's perfect.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Except for Jesus.
But I just more wanted you to touch on the other side of it too, because it is there's a lot of negative news out there about it. A lot of people, articles are bashing it, saying, "Oh, it's terrible, it's this and that," and it has its faults, downsides. But I think you have to do something. You have to get people to buy homes, especially first-time home buyers.
Is the news ever positive?
Well, that's true.
It's fear mongering.
Right.
Straight up. That's what it is. It's fear mongering. Listen, is it perfect? Does it incentivize people who have a lower credit score and less down payment? It's a riskier client. It does. It does incentivize that.
Right.
But at some point, maybe they have a lower credit score and they're a riskier client because they've been blocked from getting into a purchase earlier in their lives.
I agree. And that's my thoughts on it, is you have to do something to help the first-time home buyers, to generate that. Because, I mean, for your example, we want people when they're later in life to have that spending power to generate our economy, to keep our economy moving. Spending moves the economy.
Right.
It does. It's what generates, is how businesses make money to pay their employees.
Well, with the amount of debt that we have to pay interest on too as a country,
right,
we need the economy to continue to expand.
Yeah, we really do.
And we're a pretty dang big economy as it is, but we really need the economy to continue to expand.
We really do. Yeah. So, but going off of that, what was I going to say?
That you're a first-time home buyer.
Right.
No, you're not.
No.
Why are you lying to the people, man?
I'm not a first-time home buyer. What do you mean?
Get to your next point, Benny. And while we're doing that, let me just say that. Hey, TikTok, this is for you. You guys were all mad at me about the rent control and how I think that the rent control is a terrible idea. Well, I am going to actually type out a long review of the Biden administration rent control, and I'm going to put it on my LinkedIn and on NBI Financial Group's Twitter page. And Elon Musk just did a cool thing where you can type a bunch of words on Twitter now. It's not 140 characters or 280. Like, I don't know if they're doing that on purpose, but let me tell you this. You're going to now be able to see my thoughts on why rent control is a terrible idea. Ben, what do you got?
So what I was getting into is part of like the concern out there and why, and like you brought up too, like the risk of it, there is risk to it, is because, and we bring up like, this is nothing like 2008. People, we cannot get into a point where we have issues with the secondary market that are going to cause another 2008.
Nope.
And how does that happen? By going to fraudulent loans or going to buy high risk loans, that are going to affect the bond market and going to affect the stability of markets, because bonds are stable, right? Unless you have a bunch of fraudulent or bad things in there. Affecting the price and the LLPAs do affect that. So you really have two different options here to look at. You can either affect the price, and that's what they're doing now, is they're just rebalancing the numbers to try to benefit first-time home buyers. Or you can look at lightening up some requirements for underwriting, things like that, that would allow them to qualify more or more easily or for a higher amount.
Which they're not going to do in this
Exactly.
environment.
Exactly. And that's my thing, is you have to do something. I don't think there's much risk because they are not changing that. Those requirements are staying in place. I don't see much change in the fall through rate. There might be a little bit of difference in the back end of things with the numbers, but it's not going to cause another 2008. And they're probably going to tweak it again. They'll make it right.
We have to
do something. You have to do something.
We have to try something, because 35 is way too old for the first time home buyer.
Right.
It's way too, like, just, it's not a good financial thing. And get mad at me, TikTok. It's not smart to buy your first home at 35. You need to do whatever you can. It's like people who start investing in their 401k when they're 21 and just, coming out of college. Like, start investing young. Like, everyday millionaires, they're made all the time in this country.
Absolutely.
It's just, I'm with you. I think it's a great thing. I think they have to roll it out. I think they're going to make tweaks to it. And when we're going into a recessionary type of economy, underwriting restrictions are not going to loosen up. They're going to tighten up.
Right.
So,
Right. No, I completely agree. All right. So this is a good time to remind people to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, like this video, and leave a comment. You know what you need to leave your in the comment? Your Instagram handle. That way we can reach out to you with a drawing for a $100 Amazon gift card that is happening on St. Patty's Day. And while you're at it, go ahead and follow us on all social media. That is Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Rumble.
yes. And my favorite's YouTube. So follow us on YouTube, because that's where we do our giveaways.
Absolutely. No, you love people on TikTok. Don't
No, I
give me
hate
that.
I hate TikTok.
Don't give me
We
that.
just get the most
That's
attention.
your
on it.
favorite. That's your favorite.
I love TikTok. I am kidding. Real quick, before you move on to the next topic, I just want to say I appreciate your thoughts on the LLPAs. And for people who think that we don't know what we're talking about, Ben's probably in the top 10% of most qualified individuals in the entire industry to speak on this, because of your extensive underwriting background, what you had to do as a living as far as solution underwriting and things of that nature. And we have another one that works with us as well who does the same type of thing as you, Sarah Crespo, who's just as qualified. I'm sure you two have
She's
spoken
more
about
qualified
this.
than me. I'll say that.
And we have somebody else that we're probably bringing in who's just as qualified as that.
Absolutely.
It's so funny that people on TikTok say that I'm lying through my teeth when I'm saying stuff like this.
No.
I don't get as detail oriented as you, because that's just not my personality. But I will say that if I had, and you'll vouch, the stuff I'm saying, there's a lot of data driven opinions of mine, and my opinions are generally data driven, just because I don't get into the nitty gritty like you do.
Right.
I know what the data is.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm not lying. I have no reason to lie. I'm not even telling you to do business with us. I'm saying you need to look into this for yourself.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing is, and we keep saying, and I've said this about a dozen times, like, we present options to you. We're giving our opinions on this. There's two sides to it. I mean, just in that one.
The right side, which is us, and then the wrong side.
Well, we think it's a good side, but we acknowledge that there is risk on the other side.
You're either right or you're wrong.
Right. I mean, people don't want to risk potentially having another 2008 to potentially.
Do you want to know where you get your greatest reward?
Have an issue with the bond market because we mentioned before how well off we are, how much of a benefit it is having the 30-year mortgage. if something happens to the bond market that takes that away, like
it's the whole country that's screwed. It's not
well,
just
that's
like, and that's why I'm okay with the risk. And here's
that's
the
true.
other piece.
But
you get your greatest success, your greatest stories, you get your greatest experiences in life. And normally the story will start something like this. I took this risk, or I decided to just go out on my own, or I decided to do this. And it could have turned out either way. That's life.
Yeah.
There's a risk of sitting on your ass in your mama's basement, right? Just there is.
Oh, there is.
There's a huge risk in buying a home. I wouldn't say a huge risk in buying a home. There's a risk in buying a home. There's a risk in buying investment properties. There's a risk in investing in your 401k. Ask all the 60 to 65-year-olds whose 401ks were booming, and then all of a sudden things kind of turned around and 401ks are down 30, 40% right now, right? There's a risk there, and they got to retire in 10 years. Do they have time to make up that 30% drop for their retirement, or did their retirement just take a huge hit, right? You zoom out on housing. That doesn't typically happen. It goes down for short periods of time and comes right back. So there's a risk in anything you do, but every story, every great person, every successful person, every person that you should probably be looking up to, you should look into the most successful people in our country, what they did throughout the history of the country, because I do this. And every single story starts with, I took this risk. Ben, when we started this business, we took a risk, and it's paying off. And now we have Donovan, and we have other people in our company. We have an organization that is growing, and we're going to be at 20 plus employees by December.
Yeah.
It's a risk.
It is. And I mean, but we're giving you your opinion. Right. And we made our decision.
And we win, and we win, and we win, and we win.
We kept an open mind. We looked into things. We did our own research through multiple different platforms. And we have our own opinions on things.
Right.
And that's all. Like, if I can tell you anything, is not necessarily do what I say, but it's just have an open mind, listen to it, look into it for yourself, make your own decision. Don't just look at the headlines. Don't just look at things and just say, oh, well, it's scary, I'm not going to do it.
You want to know what I would tell people? Just do what I say. I wonder if people realize, like, I'm joking around being sarcastic with some of the stuff I say. But what's our next topic, Benny?
All right, let's get to our last topic. It won't be too long. But another industry, we've talked about this market before, the home building market. But with
this doesn't make any sense to me. I know where you're going with this.
I don't know if you do. Well, maybe so. But we were talking a lot of statistics in this video and last video in terms of the current market, what it means in terms of families growing. How are build numbers so low still? And it is such a great time to build because right now you're looking at
I actually know the answer to this. Can I tell you?
Yeah, go for it.
Look, I just met with a builder.
Right.
And I'm sorry to cut you off. But literally they're getting their credit line, even with perfect history, high credit, like their credit lines to build are being cut off from them. So the banks and the credit unions and a lot of the people who provide them the funds to be able to build are saying, hey, you can no longer do 4 houses at a time. You can only do 2, right? You can no longer do, and like people think of builders as mass builders. It's like the trucking industry. You have these huge trucking companies, but a majority of like 97% of that industry is made up with small trucking companies. A majority of the building industry is made up with small builders. They might build spec homes, they might build custom homes, or so on and so forth, right? But they're losing their credit lines.
Yeah.
For no reason. They're just being cut back because everybody's getting more conservative because we're in a recession that they're not talking about. But that's part of the reason, right? And then there's fear mongering as well. Go ahead.
But no, and I get it. And I think that's about to change also, but we'll get to that in a minute. But you look at the housing numbers, like they're in the perfect time because we all know experts are all saying rates are going to come down within the next 12 months.
Some experts.
Some experts.
Most
that I believe know what they're talking about. I'll say that.
Okay, so but that's the minority, right? That's the thing, and I know this frustrates you, but this is the truth. The minority of people who are actually because there's not a bunch of experts. There's a minority of people who are an expert on any topic, and I agree with the experts that you look at, but it's a minority. The mass media is not pushing that rates are coming down and everything's going to be okay. Nobody's saying that outside of the people that we follow in our industry. We follow all of it,
Right.
but the ones who actually have the data-driven facts and the data-driven opinions, those are the ones that you want to pay attention to, the Barry Habibs of the world, guys like that who are actually looking into this. When I see stuff about like overvalue this and that, but I know the data behind it, it'd be like trying to tell me that Nomar Garcia-Parra was better than Derek Jeter. I look at the statistics and then the World Series rings and the longevity, and it's not true, right?
Right.
That's data-driven fact to all my Red Sox fans. That's a fact, right?
Right.
And at the end of the day, it's like people call it opinion. Okay, it's an opinion based on data-driven facts.
Right.
So you're right. The interest rates are going to come down. You're right. Maybe it's going to change, but what's going to change it are those big time builders throwing up neighborhoods, and they're not willing to do it because they have billions of dollars in the bank. And typically, the ones with the billions and billions of dollars, those big companies, they're the ones who squeeze and tighten up. That's why I wonder.
Whoa.
And the people who are smaller see the opportunity, right? And I was just with a home builder. Maybe we'll have him on the show one of these times, but I was just with him. And we were having the conversation, and he was like, I see the opportunity there.
I would love to see builders. It is, in my opinion, it is the perfect opportunity to build. Like this, the timing is right for a build. You're going to catch the right side on builds. And I think the market's shifting to that. And we're seeing lenders start to do that. There's one-time closes are starting to pick up.
Right.
It is the next thing, in my opinion, it is one of the next things that is going to explode in the mortgage industry.
Well, and
people are going to take advantage of it.
And it's one-time close, so spec homes that build.
Right.
And that's for first-time home buyers. A lot of
It's like people doing it for investment properties. I mean,
that is a huge
downside of it. We talk about the Blackstone who's out there.
Yeah.
Why are they now partnering with who? Was it Lennar or who is?
Blackstone's not. Lennar's partnering with somebody else who's a big-time investor like that, $1 billion company. It is off the top of my head, but
because they see the opportunity.
Single family rentals, dude. I've had 15 conversations this week with realtors and people who they're talking about getting into it themselves. Single family rentals, it's a huge opportunity because there's a lack of inventory. So you're gonna.
Yes.
This is the other piece that people want to talk about. Here's why we're not like 2008. Vacancy rates are historic lows.
Right.
Historic lows.
Absolutely.
So there's nothing. Yeah. So here's the other piece is when, your rent prices are going to continue to go up by 10, 15, 20%.
Right.
So definitely if you're renting, expect it if you're renting in the Charlotte and surrounding area, Carolinas, Charleston, with the lack of inventory, expect your rent to go up. If the landlord knows what they're doing, they're going to spike that rent 10 to 15%. Is it right? I don't know. That free market, but it's going to go up. So buy a home because your mortgage isn't going to go up. So yeah, that's my opinion. But
right. I mean, right. And you bring up the vacancy rate, and we talked about 2008 earlier because that is a massive difference to this.
Huge difference.
And that's where new builds can really take advantage because of that difference. Because it's something that is 8 to 10 months, 12 months out, whatever for the build.
You're a good builder, 9 months.
Right. You're catching it on the other side. There is such a need for homes right now.
Right.
It's the perfect time to take advantage of that to build. You can do it in so many different ways now. You can already own the land, build it on there. You can parcel off a part of a larger land, build it on there. You can buy the land and do it at the same time. There's a lot of flexibility. Lenders are becoming more versatile for builders because you mentioned a lot of it was in terms of their own warehouse lines, basically their own funds that they can use for the build because they pay for the build. Lenders are now giving up to 12 plus draws for them starting day one after closing.
Right.
Meaning that's less upfront for the builders. That fights back against that. Mm-hmm. That opportunity is out there and becoming more and more prevalent.
And we're getting into it.
Absolutely.
That's what we're doing. That's what I was doing today.
Outside
of my root canal, that's what I did today, met with builders.
Right. And that's, yeah. So, and we bring up where are we at? How is this current market affecting certain sectors? I would say first-time home buyers and constructions are our two biggest focus that we look to build and gain equity in terms of helping clients and focus on that.
100%.
Because
the other piece too is single family rentals.
Yes.
So that's everything that we're advising. Hey, this is what you need to go after. First time home buyers,
right.
Ground up construction, new construction,
right.
Starts is what they call them. That's the lingo in the industry, starts. And then I would look at investors for single family. rentals as well as building single-family rentals. That's just going to be huge. Investors, first-time home, like it's just great now.
It's the perfect time. It is the perfect time.
And then plus with the appreciation in 12 months, it's going to be worth 15 to 20% more than when you built it.
Oh, exactly. And and you do one-time close loan for the financing for it. You're basing it off an appraisal right now. Is going to increase. You're going to have more equity. You're going to hit all that timed right. The interest rates for that float as well.
Right.
Like they float down.
Tell them a little bit about what the interest rate does.
They don't. So when I say they float, it's not like the arm that can go up.
I'm a first-time homeowner.
Right.
Ben, what do you mean they float? Like they float in the air? Are they in the atmosphere? Do they float like they're on the moon, like Neil Armstrong when he hit the golf ball?
So
the moon landing
the
really
interest.
happen?
So when you work with us, what we would do, we would give you an interest rate, right? Or we would give you an option of interest rates. That option that you lock at is the highest that it will go. So the build's complete. It cannot get any worse. Absolutely, it cannot get any worse than 6.5%.
But do they add extra to the interest rate in case it goes up?
They do.
So you're locking in at how much higher than the market rate?
It's usually a quarter to a half point, depends on the lender.
Right. But let me ask you. So I'm paying an interest-only payment while they're building it, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so I pay an interest-only payment. My interest-only payment is based on anywhere from a quarter to a half a point, depending on the lender.
Right.
Okay, and then
higher than what your rate.
Oh, okay. So higher than the market rate. Okay.
Than the market rate.
And then when I close, do I keep paying the higher rate?
No. So when the build is finished, then they look at the current market, current market of their interest rate, and it will float down to what that is. Wow. So like we're expecting, really cool. Rates are going to get better. Guess what? You're going to be at a lower interest rate. Your rate can improve. It can lower your payment. So your final payment that we give you can go down. It will not go up because we're going to give you the high end of it. We're going to give you the rate that you choose based off of the high end of it.
You want to know what I see?
What?
I see that you're a first-time home buyer.
Yes.
And I'm somebody who's very knowledgeable in the mortgage industry. I'm going to tell you, hey, listen, here's the deal. We're going to go ahead and lock this rate in today. We're going to close this construction loan in 30 days, which people don't typically do, but we do because we're NBI Financial Group. We're a mortgage broker. So we're going to close your new construction, your one-time close construction in 30 days. And you're going to be locked in at the rate that you closed at, which is going to be about half a point above what the current market is. But I guarantee you that you will never go above that interest rate ever. But it's going to take 9 months for that home to be built. And me, as somebody who's knowledgeable about the industry and who studies the markets, can tell you this. Starting in May, especially after May 10th, you'll start to see a decrease in interest rates. So you'll pay a little bit higher payment. But when your home's done in 9 to 12 months, your interest rate is going to be much lower, and your payment might actually be lower than what the interest-only payment is. Because I do think that the interest rate is going to drop off a cliff.
That could happen. How wild would that be?
I think it's going to happen in some instances, and I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove myself right then. So, what else you got for me?
I mean, that's it. We're running a little behind what we said already, but
that's fine.
From a time standpoint, we have meetings, clients to help.
We do. We have a bunch of meetings. It's Friday.
It is, but we have work. We got to help our clients.
Do you want to know what everyone should do this weekend?
What?
Bang that red subscribe button and turn on their notifications and follow us on all of our social media. We're NBI Financial Group on everything. And when I say everything, I mean absolutely everything. We are Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Rumble, and my favorite, YouTube. So bang the red subscribe button, turn on notifications. If you want a chance to win $100, the raffle is probably 4 weeks away on March 17th. All you have to do is comment on this video. Give us your thoughts. Something in this had to spark some interest, some disagreement, some hate. Maybe calling losers isn't the right thing to do. I don't always do the right thing because I'm human, but you should do the right thing and leave a comment with your Instagram handle. That way we know how to give the raffle. But that's all we have today. You can follow us on our personal,
Wait, I have a question.
Hold on. What's up, Don?
So, typically you want like lions, tigers, bears, dragons. What do you want this week?
This week?
What do you want?
All right, so we just hired a monster.
We did.
I'll be the dragon because I like to blow fire. We want wolves. You've been a wolf. We want, what was the other one? Cheetahs.
Yeah.
Donovan's been a cheetah, right? So, and here's how Donovan's been a cheetah. He sent out company-wide emails last night. He's going after it being a cheetah being a boss in the industry, I would not fuck with a cheetah. Ooh, shouldn't have cussed. I would not mess with a cheetah. They're super fast. You know they can go like 60 miles per hour. But want to know what else is a gangster of animals?
What?
Grizzly bears.
Yeah.
I watched this grizzly bear go out hunting took this moose right down. And those big things are kind of agile, right?
Right.
They run fast as hell. I've been watching YouTube videos with my son. My wife's telling me not to do it anymore. But this grizzly bear is just standing in the stream, just swatting these trout and just biting their heads off, and got this moose and dragged it out. Because I want my son to know when we're in the woods, stay away from bears. Those grizzly bears, how do they make teddy bears? Like they trick these people into thinking that these are nice ass animals. They will kill you. So you know what I want? We hired a monster in Elisa. Our next salesperson that we hire, our next loan officer, the next person that comes into this company, you want to know what they're going to be? You're going to be a damn grizzly bear.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Is
that good?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's all we got for you. To all my grizzly bears out there, we have the best technology in the industry. Call me, ask me about it, hit me on LinkedIn. I respond to everybody. I get to everybody. And you mentioned Canada. Real quick, I reached out to somebody in Canada who built a massive amount of wealth through real estate.
Yeah.
Started with his dad, passed the company out to him. He is currently not doing interviews, but said he will come on the show. Donovan, check that TikTok message. You'll see it when he opens it up. He's going to keep us in mind. So we're super pumped. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for the support. We are NBI Financial Group. We care about you, the consumer. We're mortgage brokers. Mortgage brokers are the best in the industry. We get the best cost, the best interest rates. Give us a call.